Welcome back to this lecture. In this lecture, we'll understand what is Hadoop ecosystem. In the previous lecture, we understood what are the requirements of the programming model. And we heard a wonderful story of how to prepare a pasta or biryani by taking help of your cousins or friends. Through that story, you understood what is a programming model, that is MapReduce. So understood, MapReduce is a programming model which is a part of Hadoop ecosystem. By the way, what is Hadoop ecosystem then? Hadoop ecosystem is a ecosystem of many components, tools which support distributed storage and distributed processing, or big data storage or big data processing. So the story goes back to somewhere in 2005. What happened is Doug Cutting and Mike Caffarella, who were part of the Yahoo then, they were developing a search engine. They created a Hadoop to support the distribution for the search engine they were developing during that time as a part of the Yahoo. After that, some of the components like Hive, Apache Pig, and Apache HBase were added. As and when the time moved, many components got added like Flume, Storm, Flink, Cassandra, Spark, MongoDB, Apache Giraffe. So many components got added. Now potentially there are more than 100 plus components which are there as a part of the Hadoop ecosystem. We understood Hadoop ecosystem. Before we drill down deep into the Hadoop ecosystem, let us try to understand a layer diagram. In this layer diagram, you see there are three layers. The bottommost layer is with a component named A. Above that, we have a second layer or a middle layer with the components B and C. And above that, we have top layer with the components D and E. If you really see, the component in the topmost layer is communicating with the layer in the bottom, that is with the component A, indirectly through component B. So there is a two-way communication between component A in a lower layer with the component B in the middle layer, and D is communicating with the layer in the bottom with the component A through B. Some of the component like C is directly talking to component A, which is there in the lower layer. Think of there are different components. Some of the components in the upper layer talk to the components in the lower layer indirectly or directly. That is a layer diagram. One of the possible layer diagram for the Hadoop is right in front of you guys. As I say, one of the possible layer diagram. The people do represent Hadoop ecosystem in a different ways, but this is one of the way. And this is easy to understand. That is the reason. If you see some of the components which are there in the lower layer are HDFS and YAML. The middle layer we have MapReduce. In the upper layer we have Hive, Apache, and all those things. If you see some of the components are directly talking to the component which is there in the lower layer. This is one of the possible layer diagram for Hadoop ecosystem. And this is a representation of very few important components. As we have already discussed, there are so many components which are there as a part of the Hadoop ecosystem in the present day. One important aspect of the Hadoop ecosystem is whenever we move towards upper layer, all these higher layers are for interactivity. Interactivity means, for example, if you want to type something, if you want to talk to a component, use a component, you have to go through them. Higher level components are there for the interactivity. For example, now Hive and Apache Pig, they are definitely for interactivity. Some of the components are even surpassing this. They are for interactivity also. They are for something called distributed processing also. The components in the lower layer are for storage and scheduling. Okay, for example, HDFS is for storage, Yarn is for scheduling. As and when we move forward, please bear it in mind that the components in the upper layer are for interactivity, the components in the lower layer are for storage and scheduling. For example, if you say Cassandra, the same component is used for interactivity also, for storage also. This is the way we represent a Hadoop ecosystem layer diagram. Let us see all these components one by one at a very high level, at 1,000 feet level, because some of the components will be drilling deep as a part of this course. First and foremost is a component in the bottommost, in the lower layer. It is called as HDFS. HDFS is nothing but Hadoop distributed file system. This is a distributed file system for a scalable storage. Scalable storage means if the data is increasing, it scales automatically. It scales automatically provided you add more nodes, provided you add more systems. And also it takes care of the fault tolerance. Now coming to the next component, that is Yarn. What is Yarn? Yarn is yet another resource negotiator. We'll be seeing that as a part of this course. This is for flexible scheduling and resource management. So whenever we need to talk about a big data storage and processing, we need to manage the computing resources as well. Yarn is taking care of that. Yarn schedules jobs on almost more than 40,000 servers at Yahoo. Going back to the our own MapReduce, remember the pasta story, biryani story. So MapReduce is a programming model for distributed processing. It has two stages, map and reduce. In a map phase, we'll be applying the logic. In the reduce phase, we'll be aggregating the intermediate results. We already understood what is MapReduce at a high level through the story, but we'll be drilling down deep into MapReduce as a part of our next lectures. Next components are Hive and Pig. As we already have indicated, Hive and Pig are higher level programming models. They are for interactivity. Pig is a data cleansing tool. Whenever we get a lot of data, we need to have a cleansing tool which cleanses the data. Then that will be used by a Hive. Hive is a open source data warehouse. We can write a SQL like queries as a part of Hive and do some analytical processing. Pig is developed at Yahoo, Hive is developed at Facebook. We do have a specialized models for graph processing. Remember, when we spoke about what are the different requirements of a programming model, we understood that programming model should be optimized for the specific data type. So MapReduce will not be optimized for a data which is a graphical data. This is a specialized model for graph processing, Giraffe. In a Facebook where people are connected to each other, those connections are having some more connections that will be analyzed by Giraffe. Moving on to the next components. These are real-time and in-memory processing. Apache Storm is a real-time distributed computation systems. It processes the unbounded streams of the data. On the other hand, we have a Spark, which is a unified computing engine for distributed processing. The Spark is really powerful and it is used in multiple implementations in the current year. We will be discussing Spark in detail as a part of this course. We do have NoSQL databases like HBase, Cassandra, and MongoDB. They are different from the SQL databases, but not exactly like a HDFS storage. We can say NoSQL databases are special type of databases for storing a key value pair or a document based storage, all these things. We'll see them at a high level as a part of this course. And we have so many animals as a part of this Hadoop ecosystem, right? There should be someone who would be managing these animals. That is where our Apache Zookeeper comes into picture. This is a component which will take care of synchronization and configuration of the different components also. It ensures that there is a high availability of all the components. It is created by a Yahoo to wrangle the services named after animals. In a way, Zookeeper is maintaining all these components. That is at a high level about all the important components of the Hadoop ecosystem. The beauty of Hadoop ecosystem is it is open source. All the tools, whatever we have seen so far as a part of the Hadoop ecosystem, all of them are open source. And they're pretty much robust. It is not just because they're open source, they are junk. They're robust. They're really, really good. Since it is open source, it has a large community for supporting them. For example, Hive. Hive is supporting a particular feature. Since it is open source, depending upon the requirement of a people, what they do is they'll take the open source code and they try to modify that, fine tune that according to their needs, and update that particular code as a part of the open source community. So that way it will be easy to use them and it is free. And if you really don't want to take the pain of installing them, integrating them, we do have a different distributions like Cloudera, MapR, and Hortonworks. What do they do is all these open source tools, they install the important components for you and give them as a end-to-end workflow to take care of the big data storage and big data processing, so that you don't get into the hassles of installing them individually and using them. As we are discussing now, there are so many open source tools are being developed and they are growing day by day. Some of them are really wonderful and they are really robust. We need to learn them in detail so that we understand how to use them as a part of the big data pipeline. What you have to do is you have to draw a layer diagram of Hadoop ecosystem and name the components so that you are aware what are the different components. We'll be discussing some of the components as a part of this course. Thank you very much. You guys have a wonderful time ahead.